Hello, everyone. I'm going to continue talking about the political structure of Nigeria, the flaws in the political structure of Nigeria. In terms of elections, there are different phases. There's the pre-election stage, just before the main election starts. Then the primary elections by political parties, the campaign stage after the primary elections, the elections, and post-election disputes, which often is in court. So these phases actually usually happen in Nigeria to elect political leaders, and they eat a lot of money. A lot of money has to be spent to be able to get all these processes in place. But yet we don't produce the right leaders. You also look at the rigging during the elections, the political apathy or voter apathy. Voters are not really interested because they don't believe in the system. Then electoral violence, people go out and then they are harmed because they're not voting for a particular political party. Yet a lot of money is put in place for these elections. The electoral body are funded with money, but yet a lot of times we don't not produce the right leaders to this system. So why are we continuing the system that's eating up our money and not giving us what we want? And that's why I'm actually on topic talking about this, because it's very important that we actually deal with the problem. We're able to face this challenge and overcome it. This is very important. In Matthew 15:14, Jesus was speaking there, said, "Let them alone, they are blind leaders of the blind. If the blind leads the blind, they will both fall into a ditch." From this scripture, it's clear that Jesus was telling us that we cannot allow ourselves to lack discernment. If we allow ourselves to be led by the blind, we will ultimately fail. If we are undiscerning, we will fall with whoever we claim to be our leaders. So we have to now be able to have discernment, to be able to bring in the right leaders and put them in positions of authority. When you look at James 4:17, James 4:17, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, it is sin. That's just the summary of what they're saying there. We know this system is not working. We know we have to change it. We know that we're not producing the best leaders sometimes. So when we know that this is not good, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to look for how to change it. And that's what we are looking at now. That's what I am talking about now. How we can get a better political system, a better political structure that can accommodate the citizens and make the country better in the process. So stay tuned and be blessed by this video. Thank you. I'm not talking about a system that's better for us to practice in Nigeria. And I want to now shed more light into that kind of system. So the first thing is that in this case, applicants will apply to become presidents, but it also applies to other political positions, elected or appointed positions. So we can just use this as a guide for other positions. So every 4 years, applicants submit their applications to become president. And then a committee should be set up, a committee of people with integrity. We all know integrity, known to the citizens to have great integrity. They should be set up in order to watch over, to superintend the electoral process. They have a good track record of good things they've achieved in the past. That's something that should be considered. Also, you look at unbiased. They should be unbiased people who are not sentimental based on cultural affiliations or religious beliefs. First of all, the prospective applicant should be a person of non-integrity that must not have been convicted of any crime whatsoever, crime in the past. It should be that strict. Also, the person should have occupied a high position in a well-known organization in a managerial capacity, should have handled big tasks before emerging for that position. So it's not just someone that's coming from nowhere and occupying that kind of position, but should have occupied a very high position in a well-known organization in which the person also had performed properly. They also look at the educational capacity of the person. The person should have completed tertiary education. Nigeria is a complex country. Just living it at school certificate level I don't think it's a good idea. We face economic challenges, security challenges, different kind of challenges. You need someone that is exposed in different areas to be able to deal with it. And with basic tertiary education, at least the person has been exposed. Also, another important consideration is that the president should be from a different geopolitical zone from the former president. This will allow a kind of stem in which the leadership position circulates among all the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. It doesn't stay one geopolitical zone. After 4 years, any geopolitical zone should emerge. Also, the person must have vast experience and knowledge in terms of economics. Good in economics, security matters, financial matters, civil rights matters, business, diplomatic relations, agriculture, and other relevant areas that apply to the country. So the person should be a person of vast experience, not a person that is mediocre or naive. The person should possess vast experience in these areas. This will help us to be able to have a president that can deal with different matters as they come. So we need someone that is vast in these areas. Also, the person must have a clean track record. Just like one point I already raised, that the person should not be convicted, but then a clean track record. What has the person achieved in the past? Has the person compromised at any point in the past? That's something to consider as well. The person should have accomplishments so that the person can actually handle the position of the president. A person that is a high achiever is good, someone that likes to achieve things. So the person should have achieved some great things in the past to show that the person is capable of handling that office. I mean, someone that is physically, mentally, and emotionally fit to be able to handle that position. Someone that is ready to deal with the pressures that come with it. So we don't need someone that is weak. It's very important. Also, the person, if the person is elderly, the person, as I've said, should be shown to be able to handle the position, energetic enough to handle the position, strong enough, of good health to be able to deal with the position of the president. To be a president in Nigeria is not a small task. If you should want to be a president and deal with things like a president, you can't have a small mindset. You can't be weak. You have to be strong because there are challenges that needs to be faced, and being the strong leader to be able to face those challenges. So these are things that we should look into before electing or appointing anyone to leadership, especially for those high positions. Now, after electing this kind of people or appointing them, what should we focus on? Talking about remuneration of the leaders now, after they're elected, how should they be paid? Their payment should not be a fixed payment, but should be based on performance, how they perform. When they are elected or appointed, they should be given things, the yardsticks, to be able to be paid any amount of money or to be given bonuses. If the performance of the country is good, they should be paid adequately and they can be paid bonuses. So their remuneration and packages should be based on how the country is performing, taking into consideration the poverty counts, the economic conditions of the country. Those are things that we should consider. There are other things to consider, but this is just to give us an idea. If the country is not doing well, why should the leaders be paid exorbitantly? But if the country is doing well, they can have other benefits, vacations, and good things attached to it. So this is something that we also need to take into consideration, that they're going to be paid based on their performance and not just based on a fixed structure. That's something that will help us in this country, I believe. What should we focus on? Focus should be placed on development. Our leaders should not be allowed to employ unnecessary support staff when they already have staff already with them. Some staff are not necessary. Some people are not necessary in the office of the government, in the president's office. You see a lot of special advisors, ministers. Those are not, some of them are not necessary. I'm telling the truth. So we need to now start focusing on developing and not employ unnecessary support staff just to look good. That's going to help us in Nigeria because it's going to reduce expenditure, and then be able to focus more on developing the country. The only staff that are really necessary should be put in place, should be paid, and should be assisting those in their positions, even the president. Also, there should be transparency in the government expenditure. The government expenses should be made available to the necessary security teams so that they can always review and then audit those accounts, so that there won't be embezzlement or those kind of money laundering offenses that we see sometimes. We need to now be strict about transparency. Expenditure should be made available to the public. Even the public should be able to access it. So it's very important to also look into this. Also, there should be clear identification of those heading different areas in the country. There should not be dual leadership. Anyone heading a part of the government should be known. both in state or in government level. Let them not be dual leadership. Let them not be dual leadership. The leader in a place should be clearly known, just to allow a system in which we can always know who should be accountable for some things. Not for dual leadership, and it also help reduce confusion. When a leader is doing something, another leader is doing something because they have concurrent powers or they think they have concurrent powers, it's going to affect growth. So we need to have one leader in every area. Now, going back to the applications by the applicants. After the applicants have submitted their applications, there should be room for objection. At least 3 months, the committee should set up a space in which the public can object to any candidate they want to object to. If they have an issue with a candidate or they feel the candidate is not qualified based on the stem already laid down, they can raise objections, which the committee should and shall consider. So everyone will still have a room to object if they do not accept a candidate. And the platform should be created for that. A platform in which people can also access and see what objections are coming in. So the public, the general citizens in Nigeria can object to any applicant that wants to emerge as the president. After that objection, the 3 months time frame for the objection, after the applications have been submitted, then the committee shall respond to the objections. If there will be any objection within 1 month of the objection, they will respond to either uphold the objection or to still proceed with the applicants. So if there's a valid objection, the committee can disqualify the applicant. But if the committee feels their objection is not valid, they can proceed with the applicant and give the reason why they made their decision. It should be made available to the public. And if the objector is not contented with the rest of the committee, the objector still has an opportunity to appeal the decision of the committee by going to a competent court to decide whether his objection was right or should have been refused. So the individuals will still have the right to proceed to a court, either to uphold the objection or to refuse the objection. And then the next phase, if the applicants are able to pass through the phase of the objection and are still qualified, then with the system already established, the best candidates among all those who now qualify shall emerge based on the system already established. After they fulfill all the criteria the system has already laid down. So the best candidates will now emerge for that period, and that will become the president. This is supposed to be a transparent system, so everything the committee is going to be doing should be made available to the public, so the public can see if this is done fairly. But then the committee will consider everything. But the system that is already put in place will be the main determinant of who will become the president. So it's not with the committee, but the committee just supervise the process. And then the committee is to make sure that everything that is done is transparent. This process, it's beautiful and I believe it's achievable. We can start applying this process in Nigeria to elect the president, to elect the governors, to elect the senate presidents, to elect those in the House of Reps or whatever house. And we can even harmonize the houses, so we don't have to expend so much on paying people who make laws. So we can make it one house. And this system of government will just bring things in order. We will have the right leaders who will be thinking properly to help Nigeria to move forward. We can use this in all spheres. We can use this in all parts, in all our political structures in Nigeria. And I believe it's going to work out for Nigeria. Just consider it and see how you can also be part of it. Making Nigeria great is a gradual process. Every good thing follows the process. Don't give up on Nigeria right now. We are facing a challenging time, but God is with us. And this country is going to overcome through the help of God. Don't give up on what is possible. This thing, I believe, is going to help us, and we should look into it and push for this thing to be implemented in Nigeria. One way or the other, it can be implemented. We all need to help Nigeria to move further. We all have our roles to play. So he who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. You know what is right. I believe this is right. And I'm going to keep pushing for it because I believe it's going to help us. And I hope you also support me and we can all push the system together. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Share it. Share it to people who may be interested or who you feel need to know about it. Share it and promote the video. Thank you for watching. Bye.